We regret to announce the death of Mrs. Bernice Anthony, also known as Sister Burns, who passed away at her residence, Bishop's Gap, on Sunday, 15th January 2012, at the age of 83. She left Timon one son, Lloyd Cave of England, one sister, Melina Severin of Grenada, 35 grandchildren, and 30 great-grandchildren residing in England, Canada, and the USA. One daughter-in-law, Monica Agatha John and family of England. One brother-in-law, B.J. Anthony and family of Mondudo. 4 sisters-in-law, Mrs. Nelsia Louison and family of Bishop's Gap, Mrs. Florencia Anthony of Bishop's Gap, Mrs. Williamson Anthony of Mondudo, Miss Dorothy Andrews of Grenada. Many nieces and nephews in Grenada, England, Canada, the USA, and St. Lucia, including John Louison of Bishop's Gap, Matthias Winston Louison and family of Bishop's Gap, Maria Louison in the USA, Mary Louison of Latoc, Simon Jean-Baptiste and family of Tiroche Castries, Joan Anthony and family of England, best friends, Mrs. Margaret Alexander of Vidbouteille, Mrs. Christiana Marshall of Bishop's Gap, Mr. Benedict Rosemond, also known as Kenny and family of Bishop's Gap, Miss Gertrude, a vendor on High Street, residing at Mondudo. Neighbors, Mr. and Mrs. Jean-Paul and family of Bishop's Gap, Winston and Catherine of Bishop's Gap. Many other relatives and friends in Grenada, England, and St. Lucia, including Ms. Madeline Attil of Union, Mrs. Joan Asforis and family of England, Mrs. Catherine Paul and family of Degazor, Grand Riviere, Mr. and Mrs. St. Rose and family of the Mon, Mrs. Hunter and family in England, the Preville family of Balata and England, Mr. and Mrs. St. Clair of Sunbuilt, the James, Noels, and Antoine families of Pleasant in Grenada, the brothers and sisters of Jehovah's Witnesses, also the nurses and doctors of Ward 4 Victoria Hospital, especially Dr. Nathaniel and her team. Please note